Today, we're gonna go over HighLevel's outbound calling. We're gonna do it from absolute scratch and set it up so you can actually make outbound calls using AI inside of GoHighLevel. So stay tuned and build along with us. So anybody that's ever watched a channel, you know that I'm a big component of being very, 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 very careful with outbound calling. The reason being is there's a lot of compliance associated with it. And again, what you do, you definitely are going to proceed at your own risk. There's a lot of compliance checks that you have to do within inside your state. You need to understand all the laws and governance around it, and you need to be very, very careful. Now, the thing that I'm already forewarning you about is that if you go about this wrong, there is some fines that are associated with it. So if you call people out of the times, not in the state that you're allowed to call, and more importantly, if AI robotic calling is not allowed and you do not have the right compliance check and you do not have proof that you have somebody's consent before doing outbound calling, you can be held accountable for those actions. Now, again, this is why we're very cautious in promoting any of this. We just want to make sure that we show you how, but how you proceed is definitely on you. And I would honestly recommend reading into the laws and really understanding it before you go out there and doing that. Now, with all the legal jargon, and again, you can't hold us liable because we are not telling you in any way what to do when it comes to outbound calling. We're just doing this video, honestly, for just educational purposes only. So what you decide to do with this video is on you. But more importantly, we want to make sure that you guys are at least armed in finding out what to do and how to do it, and making sure you're doing your own due diligence of finding out what's actually legal in your state, in your county, and whatever other areas you need to check. Now, first and foremost is if you go to the HighLevel support, there's a compliance check that you need to do. And just a couple things that you need to know is one, you need to have know your customer information on you, meaning you need to have an HTTP registered number. I would also recommend putting in CNAM and shaken and stir. Those are going to allow calls to go through. I'll show you where those are inside of the HighLevel system. You have to have a valid captured legal opt-in, and I'll show you that the new opt-ins have all been kind of customized to do that. You need to make sure that you have that proof and you have that consent before you do any outbound calling. And I'm going to show you a way to do that in the automation to ensure that you have that. You need to respect strict rate limits and D&D and calling hours. Calling hours are by far one of the most important. So remember, if you're in California and you're calling somebody in New Jersey, you need to make sure it falls within the time zones, because if all of a sudden you call somebody at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's out, you're going to be held liable for that. So you got to be really, really careful. And remember, the system is not going to know somebody else's time zone unless you created an address or you got the other person's time zone. So again, got to be very careful how you go about doing this, or you're just going to use some common knowledge of when you can actually make the calls. Now, we're not going to go over the benefits, but we're going to go over location compliance. Outbound calls originate only from locations that have explicitly enabled outbound calling and completed KYC. HighLevel blocks any calls from any location that fails either or requirement, meaning HighLevel's trying to, protect themselves from all the stuff that can happen if you do calls outside of those windows and not have fully approved ability to do so. So please understand that you need to do that, and you need to document all this incredibly carefully. I'm going to show you ways to do that. And the do not disturb flag on voice channel, no previous opt-out on the contact information on any of your contacts. So meaning if somebody opt out early on, they sign back in, that opt-out is still going to carry through regardless of what they select this time around. So just understand that in order to do that. And then you can only do one call per minute per location, again, to avoid massive robotic callings, and max 100 calls per location. And again, they're doing this to protect themselves because we don't want people doing this thing, robotic auto calls, like we're all familiar when we're all getting calls on the warranties for your car. I used to get those at least 7 times a day. So, and phone number specific, 1 call per day and no more than 4 calls in a rolling 14-day window, and US numbers only. And call rules are usually 10 to 6 per context time zone, stricter than FTC's 8 to 9 p.m. rule. So you got to be really careful how you do that. And real-time compliance scanning, you're now going to ask to verify your ID when you apply for any kind of H2B compliance. And again, scans your latest terms and conditions, starting with the forms and valid consent warning, and then services missing opt-in text so you can update your assets before calling, meaning they want to make sure that on your form is the actual, kind of messaging that needs to be there in the checkbox before you do that. And there's frequently asked questions and all that. There's also a whole outbound calling structure of enabling whatever you need to do. Now, first and foremost, any bots that you previously corrected that are not outbound ready, meaning there are any previous voice AI agents that you did, and when you enabled outbound calling, you need to ensure that you go back and you recreate a bot, because that bot is not going to be able to be applied to your outbound calling. The other thing is you're definitely going to want to rewrite the prompt to let the bot know that it's doing outbound calling. So I'm going to show you a way using our custom GPT that will identify a way to basically make it more of an outbound call. So if it's like a sales bot that's trying to sell an appointment or whatever it is, then you're doing that. But you can send it as a reminder. You can do all these different kind of things. You're going to just be very explicit in what this bot is particularly doing. and I'll go over some of those details too. Now, that all being said, the first thing you want to do is to enable outbound calling, because it might not be enabled, is one, if you have an agency account, you're going to turn on labs. So we're going to go to settings. We're going to go all the way to labs. Into labs, you're going to go to agency. And what we're going to do is not on the agency side, but on the sub-account side, you're going to do AI, voice. Okay. You're going to have voice AI outbound calling. We're going to activate this. I would caution you on not activating for all your accounts. It is going to be live in 4 days anyway. So at this point, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go ahead and select it, confirm. Hey, we want to interrupt this video for a quick little minute to just let you know that I hope you're enjoying this video. We want to thank you for being here. But more importantly, we are hoping that this content helps you do whatever you're trying to do inside of HighLevel. We also want to let you know that you have options to get additional help. We offer a $197 a month VIP coaching program that includes 4 days of office hours, first come, first serve with Andy or myself, where we go in and we answer any of your questions that you might have live with a group setting for other people that are also working in HighLevel. We also have a VIP group where we answer questions directly one-on-one with anybody posting in that group to give you the absolute best support. It also comes with a bunch of other features, including our funnel brick system, our little mini course, and more importantly, a couple guides that'll help you through this, and also including our SOP library that we use for pretty much everything inside of our agency. So thank you for this quick little minute, but more importantly, go back to the video, get whatever you need, and if you have any questions that we can answer inside the video, just drop a comment on the video and we'll make sure to answer whenever we get a chance. And now back to the show. When we do that, you're gonna go all the way and just make sure nothing else is there. So that activates the whole thing. It's enabled. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to go to the specific account that we're going to test in. And inside that account, I am going to go ahead and rebuild the bot that I already have. So I'm going to take the existing prompt. I'm going to put into my custom GGP that I provided to everybody in my previous voice AI videos. You can leverage this. This has been updated and you can just say it. I might want to convert this to an outbound calling bot, and you're just going to follow the prompts and do what it tells you to do, right? So I'm going to come in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the left-hand side, or you can go right to your AI agents. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to voice AI. When you go to voice AI, you're going to see that there's now an outbound section. This is going to be where all your metrics are going to be living right inside of here. And you have your agent list. Now, notice all these are internal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create enable outbound calls. I agree to the terms. I accept. All right. And then it's going to take me through the compliance check. And it's going to ask me for my real ID. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Again, obviously, I don't want to share all my IDs with you, but you're going to be able to do the same thing. Again, this is part of the compliance check. You cannot do outbound calling until this is enabled. So I verified my ID. Now, the next thing I need to do is create a compliant form. So I'm going to go over to sites. I'm going to go over to forms. I'm going to go to builder, and they already provide you one over here. Like when you build a form, it does that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create a new folder. I'm going to label it voice AI compliant forms. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and continue and go ahead and click on here, and I'm going to add a new form. I'm going to start from scratch. The way to do it is, this is like the older one. So I'll show you what happens if you come over here and you go over and you move over phone. We want to make sure I have received the messages, may include appointment reminders. This is also not very compliant. So we're going to have to go ahead and change this, because we have to make it where it's going to receive messages also from, voice AI, and making sure it has all that language. So I am failing this right now. So what we're going to need to do is we need to customize this. So what we're going to do is we have our custom GTP up for the voice AI prompt writer, and we have these two consent boxes. So let me duplicate this real quick. I'm going to go over to, again, going in there and getting the outbound thing going. First of all, let's name this voice outbound AI. All right, we're going to go ahead and hit save. I'm going to back out of this one real quick. And then we're going to go back to our AI agents. We're going to go again and go to voice AI on the top menu here. Go to agent list. Go to enable outbound calls. Since I already did the first part, it's not going to do that. I'm going to go to, it should have the voice. Well, let's just go ahead and run compatibility check. And it will tell you the requirements of what you need to do. All right. So comes in here to lawfully use AI voice, blah, blah, blah. This is all the stuff it requires. You need detection, blah, blah, blah. Must consent languages meet the requirements below the channels that require the updates. So what we're going to do is, well, actually proceed with the update. Please update the language to comply. Okay. So this was the previous language. So we're just going to come over here, Control A, Control C. Well, actually, you know what? Please update the following consent messages to now include the required language on the following update. Here is the current consent box language. Okay. And I'm just going to paste it. And here are the new requirements. Okay. And over here, copy all of that. And we're going to do it for both, right? So boom, let AI do this, but again, consult with the legal lawyer and everything else. This is not legal advice. Again, you're going to have to do this on your own and figure out what's best for you. And then I'm going to come over here to the T's and C's, boom. All right. And I'm going to say now for the second consent box, now also do it for this one. Okay. And then remember, it actually tells me that I can update this language everywhere. So if I come over here, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come over here to this, insert new language, check compatibility, disclaimer compatible. You may not proceed with the updates. And what I could do is I could select all these forms, update select with language, and my disclosures are automatically going to update based on that, right? So this is going to be where, again, it's pretty much updated. And actually, let's just go ahead and check out the form. So I'm going to back out of this for a second, proceed. Let's see if it updated the consent language. And again, I know I'm wasting a lot of time on this part, guys, but like this is the part, if you screw this up, this can have some pretty significant consequences, right? And blah, blah, blah. Now, the only thing is your business name. So in my case, this is going to be switch your business name, Digital Voltage Media LLC. And I do a little pike because I do business as my own name. Okay. And again, I always feel like that bottom one needs to be checked. So you know what? For my own safety, I'm going to say also update this one. All right. Now I know it's trying well, but like that is also a consent message. So I'm just going to do both because one is for marketing. The other one is for promotional. And come over here, paste. And again, where it says my business name, we're just going to hijack the other part and I'm going to put my business name on there. And as always, you can't make the phone number mandatory, but you can make the first name and email and everything else good to go. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. That is ready to go. And now I can proceed forward. So now I'm going to enable outbound calls, close. I'm ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new agent. I'm going to create from scratch right here, create a custom agent. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to speed this along through because again, this is going to be mostly for outbound calls and it's going to be what we're going to focus in on. So this is going to be, let's just say Jerry, or let's go to Sally, and my business name is there. Jessica's the one I always go with, and just watch the previous video to see there. Outbound calling is going to be standard. Hey, this is Sally and AI Social Mario. If you prefer not to receive these calls, don't call me again to opt out, which we definitely want. Complete greeting messages flow if you prefer not to receive the call. And again, you can also do conversational. And right after the first disclaimer, I'm calling. You want to be very, very specific on the reason why you're calling. I'm calling regarding the recent Facebook advertisement you called about, that you filled out a form for. Is this a good time to talk? Okay. And the in-call verbal opt-out, they can also additional opt-outs. It's coming soon. It doesn't have it available. Offer a key press alternative to press 9 at any time. Again, we will do that. I will do everything that I can to, if somebody wants to opt out, I don't want to get in trouble. I'll click those two in there. But for now, again, standard conversational, have your opt-out message in there. It says whatever else. Make sure you're very clear on the message and why you're calling. Because again, you want to make sure that when people pick up the phone, they're not going to hang up on you right away or get mad because they have no idea where they're getting a call that it might have a little bit of a delay in order to do so, and it can create a problem. So just be very mindful of that, right? So I'm going to hit next. And again, we're going to go switch to advanced mode. The knowledge base is always going to be the automated marketer. And then in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, now that I've completed my form and everything else, I'm going to go to an older bot that I've created. That was an inbound call bot. So I'm going to go back to my AI agents. Inside my AI agents, I'm going to go to voice AI. I'm going to go to the agent list and one of the ones that I pre-created. I'm going to go basically to my agent goals. I'm going to hit Control A, Control C. This is my old prompt. I'm going to go to my prompt builder right here. Okay, now I need you to rewrite this prompt for an outbound voice agent that will engage people, their interest in our VIP coaching services, and then send them a link they are interested anytime during a conversation. Remember that the person filled out a form and they are receiving this call. Modify this prompt, okay? Because I already have an existing prompt. And we're just going to validate. I know they put Jessica. We're just going to change Jessica to Sally. Cool. And the reason I did this also is because like you could go back and you can rejigger the prompt and do whatever you want. But I'm just kind of creating the cheat code in there so we can get to actually building this thing. All right. So I'm going to go back over here, Control A, Control V. Emojis are not allowed, so let's get rid of the emojis. I don't know why it does that. The prompt gives you that, just delete it. And so Jessica, you are Sally. Okay. Actions needed. Always, you're going to put in a call transfer, speak to a human. We would put in whatever number it is here, right? For now, I'm just going to put this number in here. When should if the customer wants to speak to a human or a manager, I am transferring your call now. Now, if you want to do like a soft transfer, they show interest and you want to close the client, you would just then transfer when the customer is interested in the product, whatever else. Whatever you put in here, use the words or and keep giving it examples of when to transfer the call to an individual. It helps out pretty well. And then I'm transferring your call now. Click on here, the whisper message. So then I know when I pick up the phone what it is. The next one that I'm also going to do is new action is I'm going to send or trigger workflow when they show interest in the VIP because I want to send them a link. So send VIP link. Okay. Push the trigger in here. And then we're going to do VIP or let's see, AI, send a message to AI. I'm just looking back where I put it. Well, for now, we're just sending every course and everything else when the customer wants VIP services. Okay. Okay, what to say? I am sending you a link now. Okay, and it would just trigger the link. That's what that automation does in. And you can add as many as you like. And then when the workflow is completed, you can trigger a transcript so then you understand what's going on with the call. So I have one that's a transcript. And if you want to watch the other video that I set up for the AI, it would be the same exact thing. And instead of all users, it would be a specific user that gets notified and it'll be them, right? So you can also, I have tons of words left, so you can definitely play around with this a little bit more. I hit next, okay? And then the phone number that I'm going to be using, I only have one. All right. And you can also enable all of this to happen. Now, here's the way that I would do it. Now, I want to do it based off when somebody fills out a form. So I'm going to go to my automations and we're going to test the AI. Oh, we're in the settings area. So let me go back on automations. Inside automations right here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little folder in here. AI test. We're going to create a new workflow, start from scratch, form fill. Okay. It can run from an ad. It could do whatever you want. Again, just be very cautious if you're running from the ad, the compliance, and you need to show proof that that compliance says that. And sometimes it might not necessarily work off of a Facebook form because the Facebook form compliance check might not carry over. So if all of a sudden you're trying to do it off of a Facebook form, just realize that that might not work. So your best bet is going to have the Facebook ad or whatever ad go to a website. The website then has the contact form. The contact form has the right compliance and you're ready to rock and roll. Now in here, you're going to do form. Okay. Form submitted. We have our voice bound, outbound, right? But then on the filters, we're going to want to make sure terms and conditions are a yes. If terms and conditions are a yes, then that gives you free reign to set the outbound call. Then you're going to come over here and I believe it's voice AI should be an option here. Yep. Voice outbound call complies all that. We already have Sally from phone number. Okay. And then I'm going to hit save action, hit publish and hit save. And now let's go ahead and try out that form. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to have my phone ready. Now this phone is forwarding, so this might not work. So let's see. But as long as it triggers, we know it would work. But what we're going to do is go to the forms, go to the builders, go to the voice AI compliant forms that we just built. Come in here, go to integrate. Let's go ahead and get the link for the form, paste it. I would normally have it on a web form. Come in here, consent both boxes. Hit the button, which you should have labeled it. And if I played my car right, or at least we should see why it didn't fire. All right. So let's see if the execution logs, add it to workflow. Okay, it's waiting. It is in the waiting area and we see it here. And again, the status is, let's see what it says. It's added to the workflow. The other thing that I would also do is if you want to be extra safe, you're going to put in a wait. And in the wait, like for instance, if I have customers, make believe I was in California, I have customers in the West Coast, the earliest you can call is 9 o'clock. So there's usually a 3-hour difference. So what I would do is I would put in the California time. So we'll just check, right? So let's just go here. California time to 9, I think it's 10 a.m. EST. Its earliest I can call is 1 o'clock. Los Angeles 3 out, for example, 12, right? So what I can do is 9 a.m. So again, what I would do here is I would do the advanced windows, Monday through Friday only. Window would be 1 p.m. So no matter what, even though like HighLevel might not know where it is, my calls will only go from 1 to 5 p.m. because you always have to account for the latest time. So if you're on the East Coast and you're calling from the West Coast, it would be that. But again, in the later part of the East Coast, you would just do it on reverse, right? The latest time you can call is probably like 1 o'clock just to be super safe so you don't pass the 6 o'clock mark. And that's what you play with, right? So anybody answering would come in here. They would only answer this if they answered yes on the terms and service. You can also tag them that they have now officially complied. So you would do it here. you would do outbound calling consent. So I would have town like, outbound calling consent, because then you have it. You know what I'm saying? You would know that that's the case. You give them a tag and here it is. This is the call. Maybe it does go on.
This call will be recorded for quality purposes. Hi, Nuno. This is Sally, an AI assistant with Digital Voltage Media, LLC vertical bar Nuno M. Tavares. If you'd prefer not to receive these calls, just say, "Don't call me again." To opt out, I'm calling regarding the recent Facebook advertisement you filled out a form for. Is this a good time to talk?
Yeah, it is.
Great. Just to make sure I've got the right person, can you confirm your full name for me?
Nuno Tavares.
Thanks, Nuno. And just to double check, is this the best number to reach you at? Also, could you confirm your email address so I can make sure everything's accurate?
Yeah, that definitely is the right phone. And the email is going to be Nuno at...
Got it. So that's Nuno at...
That is correct.
Perfect. So you filled out the form about our VIP coaching. It's basically like having a business cheat code. One coaching, implementation help, and AI-powered text.
All right. Pretty badass. I guess I was wrong about the curfew. I thought that it wouldn't call on Sunday. But again, this is why purposely I know some states do not allow you call on Sunday. So again, you got to be very careful with what states it is. This is obviously something you roughly want to practice. And what I would do is I would do Monday through Friday, make it safe from 1 to 5, make sure that consent is there on the outbound calling, and you can do it directly from a form. Obviously, other things are going to trigger it, but this is going to be the safest way to do it. And again, I really thought that the curfew was going to kick in, meaning it wouldn't do it on Saturday and Sunday, because I know for a fact certain states, I don't think my state is, but I know certain states are, but it has no way of knowing what state you're in or what state other people are on. So just be safe Monday through Friday and so forth, and just, go about it that way. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We had an outbound call. We got it off of on automation, and this is how you do it. We updated our forms. We did everything that we needed to do. But again, go back out, and I can't caution enough. Check out the documentation. Make sure you talk to a lawyer or somebody who knows communication law in that area, just to find out whether or not it's safe and what rules and regulations you have to. But if you have to do it, this is the right way to go about doing it. There's a lot you can create. You can definitely modify that voice to be a little bit more emotional, less human sounding, and you can play with a lot of them to get to that level that you'd like. And that's pretty much it, folks. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.